The Danish philosopher Kierkegaard said the piece of scripture that he related to the most was after the crucifixion, the disciples were hiding in a room behind locked doors. He thought, well, I can relate to that. Of all the things, I relate to that really well. Things are bad. I'm just going to shut down, lock down, be in my room and just hide there because I don't know what's happening. Everything that I thought was good isn't good anymore. It's all gone south with the crucifixion. I'll just hide, lock the doors, hunker down, hide here. He said he really wanted God to do what God does, and that's break through his locked doors, find him. This morning in our gospel, we hear Mary Magdalene going to the tomb and just not even looking in this account, and running away because the stone had been removed. And so you heard that Peter and the beloved disciple would then go running to the tomb. I think, what are the other 10 doing? They're just sitting there going, oh, I don't know. But it was John, the beloved disciple, who was there at the cross. So maybe they thought, well, that's just John. Here he goes. And Peter, Peter is always a bit of a guy who is willing to jump into water when he shouldn't have and say things when he shouldn't have. So perhaps he just too said, well, that's those two guys. The rest of us are going to do what we do best. Lock the doors. We're going to hide here and see what they say. Locked doors and big stones. I'm sure when Mary was coming to the tomb to take care of his body because the Sabbath was over and it was time to do what they couldn't do because the Sabbath was starting when he had died. So she was going to care for the body. That stone would have been a major problem. In Matthew's account of that morning, there's a big earthquake. And the earthquake knocks the stone away. And then she sees angels. In John's account that we just heard, and it'll go on, Mary comes back after Peter and the beloved disciple had been there and believed. Mary comes back and runs in to Jesus, and we will hear those accounts over the next few weeks. Doors. Big rocks, stones. I think they speak to us as they did to Kierkegaard about how we live our lives a lot of times. Putting up a lot of blocks to keep God away. But as we heard in that second reading today, Paul really wants us to understand that this event is different from anything else. This event is different from all the miracles. This event is different from anything that has happened in the Old Testament. This event, Jesus being raised from the dead, changes everything, which is why we gather today, to celebrate the fact that not only did Jesus get raised from the dead, but that is a promise to you, my friends, that all of us have a life beyond this life, that we are not just earthbound. We are not here for a short period of time and then gone, but that Jesus' resurrection gives us a promise of a life eternal. And that makes everything different. It should help us get out of the locked room and past the stone so that we can be alive here, now, not just later, but that we can truly be a resurrection people, unafraid, unblocked, able to feel that fullness of God's love each and every day. Mary knew that out of love. It's what drew her to the tomb. And it's what draws us here today. That love and that promise. Easter is our yearly celebration to wake up to the reality of what God does for us. Because if you pay close attention, it's God's doing all the way through. God's doing. Even when it comes to Jesus, he doesn't raise himself. It isn't like Superman. Boom! He comes out of the tomb and knocks away the stone. No, it is done for him. Jesus, as we say over and over again in our church teaching, is raised. God raises him. And God does it for us. Trust it. Trust that God will do it for you, beginning this Easter and every day.